Hi there, folks. Spencer Remple, the Moose Whisperer here, bringing you exciting hunting and outdoor adventure stories from around the world. And today I have an exciting guest with me here today. This is Rob. Now, Rob's a local fella from around the area, and he is a hunter and an outdoorsman and a fan of the channel. He's watched all the videos, and so should you. Anyways, Rob was talking to me one day and said he would love to tell some of his own stories. He's a good talker with a great voice. So, folks, let's hear from Rob about some of his bear encounter stories, as he's a big fan of bears with plenty of experience. All right, Rob, tell us first off a little bit about yourself, and then let's get into the stories.
Well, I love to hunt. I love to be out in the woods, and a lot of my most fondest memories are in the woods, interacting with different animals, and I was blessed to be born in November, November the 14th, actually.
Yeah.
So that is in the middle of the rut. So if anybody's familiar with deer hunting and stuff like that, I was born at the perfect time for the rut. So my first year of hunting was when I turned 18 in New Brunswick. My birthday was on the 14th, which was, I believe, was on a Friday. But on a Thursday, we went over to go hunting, my stepfather and I. So then I always try every year to try to get my deer on my birthday. So I call it my birthday buck.
Nice.
But that's for another story.
Okay.
You got me here on this for bears.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. You've got me here for bears.
More stories to come.
Yes. So I remember this one time, my stepfather, he was a salmon guide and on the Miramichi River, and it was a beautiful river. And he would go and he would guide these people from the States called sports. So this one year, he goes and he comes home and he goes, Bob, he says, would you like to go fishing? And I was like, yeah, let's go. So we get all loaded up and we leave, and he goes, you like bears, don't you? And I was like, yeah. I said, you know I like bears. He goes, well, he says, let's stop in and see a few bears. And I said, okay. So we drive along and we come to this gate on the back of where he was actually born across the river. And we come up to this gate, and I said, do you want me to go in with you? And he goes, no. He said, you just wait in the truck. I said, okay. So I waited. He comes out, and this old guy comes out, and he opens the gate for us. So it was a gated area. Nobody could come in or go out without this guy knowing. It was one road access.
Okay.
So we drive in, and we're driving along this gravel road, and he says, oh, you wanted to see the bears? And I was like, yeah, let's go. So we turn down left and driving in, and it's just the road with alder bushes on each side. And he stops. And I'm like, okay, like, what now? Oh, he says, we're going to get out here and we're going to walk up. I was like, okay. So we get out of the truck and we're walking up and I don't know, must have been like 300 or 400 feet.
Yeah.
And we come up to this bank. He said, and I can still see this bank. When I looked down over, all I could see were shiny cans and shiny bottles. Not a label on anything. And at that time I did think, well, that's sort of strange. It stuck out in my head, right?
Yeah.
And at the top of the hill, there was a pine tree that was about 2.5 feet in diameter, and there wasn't a lick of bark on this thing.
Okay.
So I'm standing there and I'm leaning up against this tree and I'm looking around. I said, stepdad, I said, so where's all these bears that you're talking about? Oh, they're here, he said. I said, well, he goes, you just grab some of those cans and bottles. He said, toss them down over the hill. I was like, okay. Walk up, grab a handful and throw them down over.
Yeah, I'm starting to think something licked all of those containers so perfectly clean.
And that's what came to my mind after the fact.
Okay.
It was like, afterwards, I was like,
it
that's why there was no bear. Because not knowing there were bears there without seeing them.
Right.
I didn't know what did it.
Yeah, makes sense.
Right? So I threw these cans and bottles down over the hill, and I'm standing there, and I'm looking around. I don't see nothing. I said, so where, like you said, there was bears here. Where are they? You grab a few more and throw them down over. I said, okay, whatever. I grabbed these. I threw them down over and made an awful racket. I grabbed a big arm load this time. So I'm standing there again, right? Meanwhile, I'm waiting and I'm looking around and I see a fir tree down there because it was a fir thicket at the bottom of this hill. And I look and I see this fir tree wiggle. I was like, oh, okay, well, maybe there's one there. And I get looking around and something caught out of the corner of my eye. And this sow, massive sow, comes out of the fir thicket and she's walking up this trail that they have beaten down right towards me. I was like, what? That's cool.
This beaten down bear trail.
Yeah,
probably.
basically is what it was. That's how they, instead of coming up through the middle, they walk the edge, right?
Okay.
Yeah. Right, so they don't get cut and stuff, I guess. So anyway, so I'm looking at this sow walking up the hill as I'm by this big pine tree. And I'm thinking, wow, that is beautiful, big sow. And by and by, I'm looking around to see if there was any other ones. And I turn around and I hear something behind me. And I turn around and I look. So between my stepfather and I in the truck, here's bears coming out of the woods. One dragging a garbage bag. Another one comes out of the other side of the road. Another one comes a little farther down from that. Like, we're starting to get surrounded here. And I'm like, wow, this is cool. I don't know what my stepfather was thinking at the time, but I was loving it. So I looked down over, and through this fir thicket, I could see white. And I'm like, I don't remember seeing white there before. And what it was a birch tree fell in behind the thicket or in the thicket.
Yeah.
And there was a bear laying there. So this bear, he came up around this side, and he was a massive boar. And he walked around this side, and like I said, I had the big sow. She was coming around this side, and I was just like
two others, as well.
Plus three others. Yeah,
5 bears.
So 5 bears so far.
Okay, and you're still thinking this is just groovy great.
Oh, this is just great. I'm just in my glory.
Most people a little nervous, but Rob says this is awesome.
Oh, this is all good. So anyway, so I'm looking at these bears, and I see this sow. And I'm looking at her and I'm saying, wow, you are like so beautiful. And I was like, it's okay. I'm not going to hurt you. And she starts walking and walking and walking. And I'm like, wow. And then she's getting closer to me. So she's like 8 feet from me. And I hold my hand out and I go, it's okay. I said, I won't hurt you. And I don't know what it is or whatever, but she walked up to me and she stuck her neck out and she stuck her nose on my hand. Like there was mosquitoes and black flies and stuff like that flying all over her or whatever.
Yeah, I bet.
But I held my hand out like that, and she walked up and she stuck her nose right on my hand.
Oh my God.
And I'm like, wow, you are so beautiful, right? Anyways, I'm looking around. I never even thought of the other bears at that time. So I'm looking around. There's still more bears coming out of the woods behind us, right?
Oh,
so there's like bears everywhere.
So you had a lot of experience with black bears then, because you're not even nervous at this point. You're still not nervous.
No, I never was once. Not even once.
So you'd seen black bears lots before, chased them off, never had a bit.
I've had one bad experience. Not bad. I was intimidated by one.
Oh, okay.
But
well, that's another story.
That's another story.
Okay. But in any case, at this point, you're not. And I understand and respect that too. But folks, I am going to have a disclaimer. No one try any of this at home. Coming up to a bear, letting it sniff your hand. I've seen it done before too. In fact, we had where I grew up, we had a dump back in the day. We call it dumps. And we had grizzly bears used to come there. And we had a guy that used to go and feed these grizzly bears sandwiches right out of his hand. Nothing ever happened. The guy ended up dying of old age, but I will still not recommend that to anyone.
He never had a nickname of the one-armed bandit or anything like that.
No, not for him, luckily. But a full bear isn't a dangerous bear.
That's right.
Even still, don't mess with them. You might find a crazy one that can happen.
That's right. Anytime.
So anyway, my friend, let's continue. You have sows there, 4 others behind you.
4, 5, 6, I don't know how many were coming out of the woods behind me, but I was more focused on her.
Yeah.
Right? So like I said, she sniffed my hand, and I'm looking at her, and I'm like, wow, this is incredible. Like, I look over at Steph, like, what? Like, look at this. And he's like, yeah, I told you. And I was like, yep. So anyway, so she goes and she looks like this. And she's looking up. I'm like, what are you looking at? She's going to climb the tree, I bet. Right? So I looked up the tree. Here, I said to my stepdad, I said, look up in that tree. He goes, oh my gosh. He says, 3 cubs
I knew you were going to say it.
3 cubs up that tree, and then as soon as I said
Tell me now you're nervous.
I knew what it meant to be between a mother bear and her cubs, but
she wasn't giving you any action to be nervous.
Right. She wasn't
Yeah.
bluffing me or huffing me or anything like that. Right.
Yeah.
So I had no reason to be nervous. And I think if I was nervous, she would have sensed it. And
Sure.
possibly that might have been a different outcome. But as
It's not
well,
fear.
right? A lot of people can. It's not, but what's in the back of your pants?
I was going to say, if the bear's chasing me, it's going to be smelling a lot more than fear.
Yeah. So,
Okay, so you look up the tree.
So I look up at the tree and I see these 3 beautiful little cubs up there.
Yeah.
And I looked down at her and I said, well, thank you very much for this. I said, but we've got to go. I looked at my stepfather. He was already starting to leave. And I was like, wait for me. I turned around and I looked at this big boar over there. And, oh, man, he was massive. So anyways, I turned around and I looked and we just walked away. And bears were just going everywhere in front of us. Like,
So you just backed away, nice and
just backed
slowly.
away, nice and slow.
Mother wasn't intimidated. Of course, the boar there, he was full. He was happy.
Looking for food was all he was looking for. Yeah, and then we turned around and
What an
we
experience.
left. But yeah, it was
What
incredible.
an experience, eh?
Yeah, it was once that will never happen again.
Yeah,
You know
to
what I
have
mean?
that many bears in that close a vicinity all the way around.
And then not feel scared or whatever, you know what I mean?
Right on.
Yeah.
Right on. That's an outdoorsman experience for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. Well, you know what? I love that story. Thank you so much. We're going to get more stories from you, but I think we'll sign off here for now, folks. But stay tuned next week. You're going to hear some more stories from Rob. He's got a few more bear ones, and I think some hunting ones you might want to share yet too.
Oh, yes.
An elk or a moose story, maybe?
Moose, yes.
Moose.
We can have a moose. We can have...
Moose Whisperer loves moose stories.
yes, we can have deer.
Okay.
My
right on.
son's first buck.
Oh, love it.
Yeah, so
love
it's going to be,
Right on.
I've got a few up my sleeve for you.
All right. Well, that's what we like to hear.
And for you guys.
Thanks for watching, folks. This is the Moose Whisperer. Tune in for more great stories like this. And don't forget to like, share, subscribe, do it all, because we're starting a community here. Guys like Rob want to tell their stories before, and guys like me, we want to tell our stories and our hunting stories before it's too late. Heck, you know, it's just a blink and a whisper and a breath away and we'll be gone. So let's get our stories out there, eh, folks? Thanks for watching. More stories to come.
Take care.
We're a team. That was beautiful.
How do we make for time? I couldn't see it.
It was 14 minutes.